Islam, and greetings. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Today, I'm going to dispel some widely trotted out myths about some of the people who called Earth home. I'm going to start with the myth, which is actually a lie, about Egyptians building the pyramids. Egyptians did not build the pyramid. I mean, we did. But I'm talking about that place over in Barbara where the pyramids stand. The people who built the pyramids, they were known as the odd people, AD or AAD. They were a race of giants. And anyone who has ever been to Adnan over in Barbara, today they call it Egypt. It is a lie, it's not Egypt. This is Egypt. It's called Chicago now. Anyway, it was the odd people who built the pyramids. Now the odd people, they were, again, giants. And if you've ever seen pictures of any of the artwork, statues, etc., over in Barbara, what you need to know is the odd people didn't know scale, meaning the size of those statues that you see over in Barbara, that is the actual size of those people. Now, I want you to think. My nephews and nieces and brothers and sisters, I want you to just think. Question. Why would a 6-foot man, and I'm going to use 6 foot as the average height of modern man, why would a 6-foot man build an 80-foot archway leading to an 80-foot doorway? Why would a 6-foot man do that? He wouldn't. He wouldn't. And as far as man and his capacity to build, it is a known fact. Man builds with materials he can pick up with one hand. That is who actually built the pyramids. And because they were disobedient, they had a prophet come. Let me read to you what happened to the odd people when they disobeyed their prophet. This is from Surah 11 in the Quran. The prophet told them, if you turn away, I at least have conveyed the message with which I was sent to you. Here is where the real big mistake happens. Now this is what the prophethood told the odd people, the builders of the pyramid. He told them, my Lord will make another people to succeed you. That is where we came from. And you will not harm him in the least. Well, what real story tells us, not all of those giants were paying attention. Case in point, that one giant who had the misfortune to run into Uncle Dave one day. He obviously wasn't paying attention. And it was not a good day for him when he ran into Uncle Dave. Because the way I understand it, Uncle Dave just kicked his ass, period. And Allah told them, leave man alone. Leave the new man alone. Let me finish teaching you what happened to the odd people. Okay? So when our decree issued, we saved Hood and those who believed with him. We saved them from a severe penalty. Such were the odd people. They rejected the signs of their Lord and cherisher, disobeyed his prophets, and followed the command of every powerful, obstinate transgressor. And they were pursued by a curse in this life. And on the day of judgment, behold, for the odd rejected their Lord and cherisher, and they were removed from sight, were the odd people. Now, understanding this, and I pray that you do, understanding this, the odd people were virtually the last of the giants. They weren't the last. They were virtually the last. There were still other races of giants here. If you look in, I think it's chapter 25 of Genesis. I could be wrong. I don't know the Bible like that. But it does tell you there were giants in the earth in those days. It was those giants who built the pyramids over in Barbara. Now, the odd nation of people, they were disappeared. The way they were disappeared, Allah sent hundreds of tornadoes, hundreds of them. Understand? Hundreds of tornadoes. You know the funnel, the skinny part that actually touches the ground and destroys barns and houses? The funnels at that time were 5 miles across. That's the skinny part. That's the skinny part. And many of the giant skeletons, skeletal remains that they are finding all over the world, many of them are odd people. Many of them are the giants of odd. Now, when man came, most of the giants were cleared out when we fell here. Most of the giants were cleared out. Ham and Cush, they were the first inhabitants of Amahim. They divided Amahim. Cush had East Africa. Cush had West Africa. He took West Africa. Ham took West Africa. And that is why we are Hamithites. That's why we are Hamithites. We are descendants of Ham. Now, the people the world know as Egyptians, they are a hybrid. They are Cushites and Persian mix, because the only other empire that could rival ours was Persia. And nobody wanted no truck with Persia. Nobody. We didn't mind because, we hold our own wherever we go. But no one else on earth wanted any bad business with Persia. What occurred was, while the Cushites were going about, their lives and such, this was early. It was shortly after East Africa had been settled by Cush and his family. They expanded, etc. They were just merry Cushites doing what they do. And Persia came. When Persia came, Persia for the most part, it incorporated that portion of Barbara into the Persian Empire. The Kushites, well, of course, they amalgamated with the Persians. And the people you see today over in Barbara, over in Adnan, one of the reasons that they're not Egyptians is because that ain't Egypt. The second reason that they're not Egyptians is because they are of a dual bloodline. They're of a dual bloodline. And so they do not acknowledge their Persian bloodline. And that's unfortunate. But that is how that part of Barbara got populated. And I can assure you, it certainly wasn't a Persian Kushite hybrid man who built those pyramids. Didn't happen. Didn't happen. And if you have ever been to Adnan, over in Barbara, what you're going to notice when you go to Cairo, you're going to notice all of the salesmen and vendors trying to hawk their wares to the guests, visitors, tourists, etc. Let me ask you, if you knew that your people built those structures, wouldn't they become, I don't know, perhaps sacred to you? And you wouldn't be trying to get up off your little beads and your brass boxes around such a sacred place if you honored your ancestors. Well, they don't have to, because the builders of the pyramid were not their ancestors. The Kushites, when they found Adnan, they just moved in. When the Persians came and began amalgamating with the Kushites, that is what the world knows as the Egyptian people. Got a question for you about those pyramids. If a 6-foot man built those structures, check that. Wrong question. The question is, why would a 50 or 55-foot man cut little 6-foot holes in a structure that he just created? Why would he do that? He wouldn't be able to get in there. He would not be able to get in there. And when you go down the steps inside one of those structures, you can tell they were hewn out of the inner blocks inside those structures. The steps were hewn out of there. They were not constructed there. The steps were not constructed there. They were hewn out. That is how those stairs and caverns and what they call chambers in the pyramids. Modern man did that, because when they were constructed, they contained no such things. Chambers, stairwells, none of that. None of that. They contained none of that. None of that. So, just so you know and understand, the lies you've been fed have been carefully crafted in order to keep you dumbed down and ignorant of the truth. I'm here to tell you the truth, and I'm going to give it to you. I am a revealer of the light, not a concealer of the light. Seek ye first the light, and the truth shall set you free. It absolutely will. So, nieces and nephews, brothers and sisters, I am going to bid you peace. Prayerfully, you have learned something, because living by lies and with lies is not healthy for you. Peace.